What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Steven Trinidad. What's going on, man? Welcome to the video. So the title of this video is why I could never work a 9 to 5 ever again in my life. So y'all ready? Y'all ready? Why? Y'all ready to hear why I can't ever again see myself in a 9 to 5? Here's why. Because to work a 9 to 5 is literally to be ran like a machine. You don't have flexibility. First of all, you're supposed to have 4 streams of income according to the Bible, right? So that's number one. What am I doing just working this one job, and not having time for anything else? First of all, it's not paying me enough to free myself and to live the life that I want and help the people I want to help, right? The Bible talks about to have 4 streams of income. Four streams of income, right? I'm sorry, guys. I'm eating these pistachios, and they're so good. But I will stop because they're a little spicy. So, 4 streams of income, right? The Bible speaks about having 4 streams of income. People that work a job and dedicate themselves to that one job, they're already violating that command, right? You're supposed to have 4 streams of income. I worked as a truck driver before for companies, and I hated it. I quit. There's many jobs that I just quit from. Every job I had as a trucker, I quit. I quit for whatever reason, And really, the same reason was always, it was because in my soul, I just felt like, man, I don't belong here. Like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing with myself. I like trucking, I like traveling, but I just don't like it like this. Like, every day the same route, I feel like I'm being abused here, underpaid. They could really do anything they want to me, throughout the week, because I already committed I signed the contract that I would work these hours and this schedule for this pay, right? So, yesterday, like, I now work for this other company called Draver, right? And now I don't even touch the load. I just move the trucks. I choose the jobs that I want. I could even cancel jobs that I choose within a certain time frame, which is something I did yesterday, because I got back home late from a job, right? I got home like at 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I was doing a long run. I was over the road. I was moving a tractor trailer from somewhere in Cranberry, New Jersey, all the way to Massachusetts, and then I drove it back from Massachusetts back to Cranberry. I had accepted a job too on the app while on that job. It was supposed to be for today at 6 a.m. But I canceled it, and I told the guys from Draver, like, listen, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to cancel that. I didn't have to tell them, like, you feel me? It's not like a job where you have to tell your boss, listen, I'm not going in tomorrow or whatever. Like, there's literally rules that you could cancel before a certain time, right? So that's exactly what I did. And, that is such a great feeling. That makes a huge difference now that I could do that, right? Because I remember being on the road working for these other companies and coming back extremely late for whatever reason. Like, an example was one time a truck broke down and I was literally like waiting for a tow truck to come and save me for hours. And the company was expecting me to be at work tomorrow, the next day. They did not give a damn what time I got home that day. Like, you're supposed to be there the next day, right? And I remember I took off and they were mad. And the next day I came, they gave me extra work and all that stuff. And so all of that was just so stressful. The abuse, the lack of consideration when you wanted a day off or something. Like, it was just horrible. And it's just so fascinating to know that when I was there and I lived in that bubble, like, I didn't know that these other independent contractor apps and all this stuff, like, I knew existed, but I doubted it. I didn't look at it like it was consistent or all this stuff. Like, I had so many negative thoughts about it. I thought that having a real job, like a 9 to 5, was like the real thing. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Be at a job with a uniform on and all this stuff. And that's another thing, is like, you feel even more of a slave, like, if you're at a job where you have to wear a uniform or whatever. You have to dress how they want you to dress, or now I move these trucks like dressing like this. You know what I'm saying? That ain't no problem. There is rules. You can't wear nothing with like languages or but I don't wear that anyway. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I wear would be like a brand or something, and nothing disrespectful. But that is way better than having to put a jail suit for a job, like every day or whatever, and feeling like more like a slave. I used to hate those uniforms, bro. Like, I remember I was working in this company and like I just stopped wearing the uniform and they didn't even say nothing to me. I was such a good driver for them, and I used to do one of the hardest routes for them. And they just knew that I was a beast, and they knew that I was a good worker. So they never really said anything to me, about like not wearing the uniform. Like, they would say something to somebody else, because they just knew that I wasn't a slave. Like, people would know it. They would see it in your eyes that you're not a slave. Like, this is why, like, in the job meetings and stuff, like, they gave everybody else awards and presents except me. Because they just knew that that's for them. Because they're the ones that are going to stay there working 30 years because they know that they're dumb. They look at me and they know that I'm a smart guy that eventually is going to be saved by God, and God's going to, take me out of there. They know that they are truly abusing people there and underpaying them. And yeah, and they just know that that's not my identity. And so that's why I'm the last one to give an award to, or any little present to cheer me up, to try to keep me in there longer. They know that I wouldn't even be impressed by anything they give me. Like, it's just so funny, But yeah, I can't work a 9 to 5 because it literally takes up all your time. It doesn't give you any time to do anything else. You know what I'm saying? Depending what your job is. But I knew for me, as a trucker, man, it was a hard job. Yeah, you have to do deliveries, you have to unload here, unload there, be out there for hours, all kind of delays on the road. I barely had time for anything, like, and I found myself real depressed one time, multiple times in these trucking jobs. And what I really always wanted to follow was my dreams of doing YouTube, doing music, doing other things. I don't want to be just here doing this and like not inspiring the world or anything of that nature. This is not all that I want to do. Like, I love trucking, I love traveling, but I want to do this like in a different way. Like, I used to say I wanted my own truck and all that stuff, which is still a good idea, but yeah, you can't choose too many things in life. I believe in 4 streams of income, right? So right now, I'm doing Draver. I do Draver. I do food deliveries. I do YouTube, and I do music. So that's 4 streams right there, right? So I'm, it's staying like that for now. Whenever I want to swap one or whatever, I'll do that. but you should have 4 streams of income. There should be 4 different things that you do. You are not to have one job, you know, and just be slaving at that job, you know, every day doing the same thing. Like, do you know that's unhealthy for you? For you to be ran like a machine, doing the same thing every day, performing the same task every day, waking up at the same time every day. It is not meant for you to be ran like a machine. You would eventually break down and get sick and old. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to have flexibility, and your spirit is supposed to be nourishing off of these other things that you're doing that are inspiring you. What really gives you life and youth is when you're inspiring other people, when you're helping other people. If you're not helping anybody and you're just making a boss rich somewhere, you're really just wasting your life, paying bills and nothing else. You know, which is why I could never, ever again in my life see myself working a regular 9 to 5. Like, my job is to make music. My job is to make videos. I still do trucking, but I do it whenever I want through an app. And I don't even touch the loads, which was another thing I was annoyed with. Like, I always wished that I could just drive the truck and not move the load. And, you know, here I am. Now I do that, right? But yeah, that is some of the reasons right there why I could never, ever again see myself working a 9 to 5. I'd rather go homeless. I'd rather live in the woods until I figure it out. I would not go back to... I'd rather sell mangoes on the street like the little Mexican people do. You know? Whatever it takes to get some money in my pocket and do what I got to do with the money, right, to come up again, I would do that. But I would never, ever again fill out an application and, you know, try to appear nice to a manager so that he could like me and all of this, you know, just to be his, you know, bitch, you know. Never again. It is not my identity. You know, the Bible says you are the head and not the tail. I don't belong in a job. If you're a chosen person of God, you're not a slave. You've been freed from sin, from the yoke of sin. You've been cut from that. Do you know what that means? That is deep. That means, like, spiritually, your identity, you're not a slave of any kind. Okay? So whatever entrepreneurial options there is out here for you to get money, you should be doing that. Okay? You shouldn't, you know, because there's options. We have options now. All glory to Jesus Christ that we have options, because before Jesus dying, we were all still slaves to Satan. There hadn't been somebody that freed mankind, right? There hadn't been somebody that had fulfilled the law, right? That's why when he said, when I leave, y'all would receive the Spirit. Like, now consider yourselves new. Now consider yourselves a new creation. Now you have an opportunity to do independent contractor work. Now you don't got to be a slave to somebody. Now all of these things exist. Now you're free. So there you go, guys. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Steven Trinidad. Stay tuned. I'm coming with more knowledge. Let's go.